Hello. Welcome back to my channel. You like my microphone? I talk a lot with my hands, so I figured I would just, hold a two-way friendly microphone as I do this video. Let me know if you like it in the comments. Anyways, so today I want to talk about the recent news from the DOJ that they are contemplating the possibility of stripping away the Second Amendment rights from trans-identified individuals. And a lot of people, particularly those who claim to be pro-Second Amendment, are totally in favor of this idea. And I'm not sure why. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm getting a little bit too far ahead of myself. Let me just preface by saying this, okay? I'm very opinionated, okay? As you can see on my channel, I have lots of opinions about a variety of different topics, and the LGBTQIA community is one of those topics that always gets me labeled a homophobe, a transphobe, and, because I'm not for any of it. I think that a lot of these movements were manufactured to destroy the nuclear family, and it's working. And so, hey, some people want to call me homophobic and transphobic for that. That's totally fine. But I am so phobic that I want you to have the right to bear arms. Yes, that's right. I dislike the alphabet mafia so much that I want you to be able to defend yourself and your family. Yeah. Okay. So, why? Why do I say this? Well, first of all, I don't know if you guys remember, but it wasn't that long ago that being a homosexual was included in the list of mental illnesses, and yet it's not anymore. Again, I have my own opinions on that particular topic. But what does that tell you? It tells you that mental illness is arbitrary, that mental illness can always change depending on who is in a position of authority. And so you may agree with the idea of saying, hey, we should strip the rights of people who are not living in reality, people who think that they can be all these infinite genders. They don't have the mental faculties to use and safely operate a firearm. Use and safely operate. I just said the same thing, whatever. So I understand the argument there, but again, you are giving more ammunition, if you will, to gun control advocates, because that's one of their arguments, is that people who are mentally ill should not have access to firearms. This is the line of reasoning that they use every single time there is some type of a mass shooting. We saw this happen recently with the Catholic school, and it was a trans-identified individual. And so now we're giving them more to use for their arguments, when we know that if we were to objectively look at all the statistics for shootings, you could argue, not defensive shootings, by the way, but just, crazy people going out and shooting up a block and shooting up a school or a restaurant. We could say that, oh, obviously these people have something wrong with them mentally. like duh. And the laws are not going to prevent these people from obtaining a firearm to begin with. How long until we apply that same rhetoric to people who have struggled with anxiety, have struggled with depression, even if you've overcome the depression? How long until they start labeling people who believe in God as being psychotic, and therefore you don't deserve your Second Amendment rights? Now, where does the line end is what I want to know. We are putting our trust in people who change their minds and people who have incentives, okay? And furthermore, when has the government ever been a moral entity? The government historically has been the entity that says, hey, abortion is healthcare. Meanwhile, they'll be all up in arms when kids die at the hands of some psychotic mass shooter. So, okay, do you want the kids to die or not? They don't care about safety, okay? They don't care about protecting the kids, because, as I said, they're totally in favor of sterilizing American citizens. They're in favor of thinning the herd, and they're in favor of replacing our culture with a culture that's incompatible to the US Constitution. Okay, we all know that criminals, by definition, do not follow laws. Whether they're trans or not, criminals do not follow laws. And also, I would say that if we're trying to make the argument that people who are struggling with mental illness or they've fallen prey to propaganda, if we're saying that these individuals alone are capable of committing atrocities like that, first of all, it's foolish. And second of all, you're wrong, okay? You're wrong. And you're literally using the left's line of reasoning. Like when we say, oh, trans violence. No. It's called violence, okay? It's like hate speech. It's called speech that you hate. Hate crime. It's called a crime. Okay. Another thing that I have come to realize as someone who is fairly new to the 2A advocacy is that people who fall into so-called marginalized groups, so for example, the Black community, the gay community, the trans community, these people are so valuable to the 2A movement, okay? Because oftentimes anti-gun advocates will get on their soapbox and try to emotionally manipulate these groups of people just for the sake of getting support, and then go around their back and create policies that would hurt them. Gun control is one of those policies. And you guys have heard this when I've done my testimonies in front of the Senate hearings in Rhode Island, is that I will call these people out and say, stop talking about Black Lives Matter when you're over here making policies that would put people like me in harm's way. All right. And so I don't think it's a good idea to push away people who could be so valuable to the 2A movement. If we believe in the Second Amendment and we believe that our right shall not be infringed, then we should actually stand on that instead of arbitrarily deciding who gets to have what, just depending on your level of annoyance. And like I said, I have my own opinions on the trans and the gay stuff. That's a different video. But for this video, I think they deserve the right to the Second Amendment just like any other American. And so that's going to be it for today's video. I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have a suggestion for a future topic, let me know as well. My name is Vanessa. You may know me as Gothix, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.